So Modern Warfare 3 has dropped, and with it, it brings back slide cancelling and advanced movement. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up your DualSense Edge controller and what in-game settings you're going to need for your controller to make the most of this movement. Let's start off in-game in the Modern Warfare 3 controller settings, because there's a few settings that have been added to the game to make use of some of the newer functionality, and then we'll jump over to the DualSense Edge controller settings to see how that's set up and paired with these two settings. So in the controller tab, obviously your input's going to be controller. In the edit button layout, I've got mine set to tactical, which for me I've found to be the best settings, so that swaps circle and R3, and I find that stops me from accidentally meleeing when I'm in gunfights, because I found when melee was my R3 I was meleeing quite a lot, so tactical will help solve that for you. Then you want L1 button ping off, flip off, stick layout preset as default, controller vibration you want this off because any sort of vibration can really throw off your accuracy, so have this one turned off. Same with the trigger effects. And then as we move down into the Deadzone inputs, this is a new little kind of testing diagram that they've got. If you press square to show more, this is what they brought in for MW3, so you can test by turning on the test stick dead zone how much dead zone you need to add to your controller if there's any stick drift. So you should be able to move both the right and the left joysticks, and both should bounce back to 0 as shown here. So if you turn this off, if I was to for example bring my left dead zone down to 0, you'll see that I start to glitch, and that's the very beginnings of some stick drift there, so it does need slightly increased dead zone on my left stick. My right one's generally seems to be fine actually. So I have my dead zone at 3, but this will be depending on how new your controller is, and then left stick max is 99, same as the right stick. You can also now increase and decrease the dead zone on your triggers. So obviously you have got the trigger stops on the DualSense Edge controller, and you'll want these all the way down so you've got the shortest distance travel, but you can also do this within the software, so we'll have both of these at 0, so there's 0 dead zone for input, so the inputs should be instant. Then if we tab over to the aiming tab, I've got my horizontal and vertical sensitivity set to 7. This can be quite high for some, but I do use precision rings, which helps to soften the movement. On that note, if you are interested in accessories for your controllers, I've got a video coming up which will showcase various different types of accessories to help you improve your aim. If that's something that interests you, then make sure you subscribe to the channel with notifications on. But this will be slight personal preference. You can have this sort of between 5 and 8, depending what your preference is. The sensitivity multiplier is locked because I set this at a later stage in one of the other settings, so this then locks this one. Sensitivity multipliers, I've got this set to 1 across the board. Vertical aim axis, I actually play inverted, which is definitely the minority. You'll probably be normal, but yeah, I have all of my vertical aim axes as inverted. Then you'll want your tactical stance sensitivity multiplier set to about 0.9. So this is a new setting, obviously, for the new mechanic of tac stance. Default is at 1. But you want to bring this down slightly just to give you that slight bit of control in tac stance, because you might find that the sensitivity is too high and you're whiffing shots all over the place. Next up, we've got the aim response curve, which is dynamic. This means that the movements at the extreme of your joystick will be quite quick, but when you're at longer range engagements, it will give you that precision that you need to be able to hit your shots at longer range. ADS multiplier for focus is 1. ADS sensitivity transition timing is instant. Custom sensitivity per zoom I have on, so this is why the previous one was locked at 0.6. So if we show more here, you'll see that I've got my low zooms and 2.3 and 4 to 5x at 0.6 multiplier, and then I've slightly increased it for things like snipers, so your super high zooms up to 0.75. So this will give you a bit more opportunity to be able to flick, because I like to flick while I'm sniping, so that just increases that speed a little bit there. Target aim assist is on. And the aim assist type, so before previously in Modern Warfare 2 it started off as Black Ops and they nerfed that, and we were then back to default in Modern Warfare 2, but now we are back to Black Ops after a bit of testing. This definitely feels the strongest of those two, so yeah, you want to make sure you've got Black Ops on so you're hitting your shots. Third person ADS correction type is assist. Motion sensor behavior is off, and then I've got all of the gravity and gyro and things like that all turned off. Then we move over to gameplay. So for Modern Warfare 3, particularly in multiplayer, you're going to want to have automatic tac sprint on. That's just going to make you so much more nimble moving across the map. And the fact that they brought in slide cancelling back, it just means you can make the most of this mechanic and really start flying around the map. Also move forward is off, obviously. Tac sprint behaviour is single tap sprint. Ground mantle is off because you don't want to be pulled into a hip fire mid gunfight when it tries to get you to climb over a bollard, so this is definitely an off. Automatic airborne mantle is partial. You can have this on if you want, but I find partial is a bit of a good middle ground. Automatic ground mantle is off. Slide dive behaviour is tap to slide, so obviously we've got slide cancel back, so you really want to prioritise this. Back in Modern Warfare 2 it was tap to dive for some of the earlier seasons, but tap to slide is where you want to be now. Plunging underwater is free. Parachute auto deploy is off, so that means more so for Warzone. You can drop straight into the ground and pull your chute at the very last minute, so you're not hanging there like some low hanging fruit. Easy picks for the enemy. Sprinting door dash is on, so you can fly through those doors. Ledge climb behaviour, mantle only. Slide cancel sprint is on. In combat behaviours, you've got aim down sight is hold. Change view activation, sprint to tactical sprint focus. Equipment behaviour is hold. I've got my weapon mount as double tap ADS. I found that when it was ADS and melee, I was accidentally mounting quite a lot, which became annoying, and I started losing gunfights. So double tap is more of a conscious decision, and I'm not likely to accidentally do that. Weapon mount delay is short, so you don't want to be stuck in an animation. This will just take you off the mount instantly. Tactical start activation, I've got ADS and the down button. This will take a bit of muscle memory to start getting used to, but the more you try it, particularly if you're camo grinding, there's some of the challenges are to get tac stance kills, so you're going to notice you'll be flicking between the two here. Tactical stance behaviour is on toggle. Interact and reload behaviour, so this depends on what game you're mainly playing, but at the moment obviously Warzone's not out yet, and we'll be mainly playing multiplayer, so I've got tap to reload on, which just makes reloading a lot quicker in multiplayer situations. However, you'll want to change this to tap to interact when you're playing Warzone, because then this will make your looting a lot quicker, opening chests, picking up items and things like that. But make sure you change that between the different games when you're playing them. Armor plate behaviour is apply all. ADS stick swap off. Backpack control, directional buttons. Depleted ammo switch is on, so I like my weapons to switch automatically. Quick C4 detonation is grouped. Manual fire behaviour is press. Vehicle camera is recenter with a short delay. Camera initial position free look. Lean out activation is melee. And then this is more kind of for the pinwheel UI. So the pinwheel delay is moderate. Double tap danger ping delay is moderate. And the kill streak wheel behaviour is hold. So if you want to use one of the earlier kill streaks than the ones you've just got, then you can use the pinwheel and it will allow you to pick, for example, a UAV over the VTOL if you're not able to call it in. So there we have it for the in-game settings. Now let's jump over to the DualSense Edge and take a look at how the settings pair over there. So here we are in the DualSense Edge settings. So in the customized button assignments, obviously I've got it set to tactical in-game, and then I've left all of these on the main controller. These are all set to default. But when it comes down to the paddles, I've got my left one set to circle, so that for me is melee, and then the right side I've got X, which is to jump. Alternatively, you could set the left hand to R3 if you want to slide, but I found that melee works better here because I didn't want to accidentally knock that and jump into a slide, so I found that circle and X works best here. Then down to your stick sensitivity and dead zone. So on the left stick this is as default, but then if you move over to the right stick, I've got my sensitivity curve set to precise, which has minimum input. It's registered when you tilt the stick, good for making precise movement. Fans of shooting games may find this ability to aim slowly and accurately helpful, but I've reduced that adjustment curve by -2, so that softens it slightly, and this doesn't overwrite what happens in game, so it actually stacks. And give it a try. I've tested this over hours across all the different settings, and for me this is what gives me the most stickiest aim. This is my recommendation. Then you go to trigger dead zones, so there's a little button at the top here and you can apply the same dead zone settings for both. And what you want to do is from 0 to 1, so this is essentially similar to what we did in game where we reduce the trigger dead zones right down to the minimum. As you see here, if I pull this up, dead zones increase on that white bar, but you want this set all the way down, so as soon as you give an input you'll see a result. Then same as in game, you want the vibration intensity turned off. It's only going to affect your accuracy, so have that turned off, and if you don't play with the USB plugged in at all times, then this will also help to increase reduce the battery life. Same for trigger effect intensity. This is also turned off because actually this can conflict with your lower dead zones as well, so you definitely want this turned off if you've set your dead zones or your triggers all the way down to 0. So there we have it. Those are all the settings that you need to have advanced movement in Modern Warfare 3. If you found that useful, then please consider subscribing to the channel, liking this video because it really helps it out with the algorithm, and make sure you stay tuned for the upcoming video on some accessories that will really help out your aim on the DualSense Edge controller.